sky, and kings shall deceive. We have come into the night, thunder and rage and war a night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage and war a night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. The sounds of arms, fierce morality. Nightfall, the rain, and the silence bleeds. We have come into the night, thunder and rage and war a night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage and war a night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Shield wall. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok, drink her up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seer for Valhalla Esports, week number 4. I am Hailstorm and joined by Malco. How you doing?
Doing good today, doing good. I hope you're doing good as well, and I'm glad to be able to go ahead and get these games through.
For sure, for
Um,
sure. And thank you to Blitzkrieg Pyro giving us that subscription, receiving your at least 30 days of love from Valhalla Esports. And yeah, we'll jump on into the games from week number 3, starting off with the first series, which was Goat Kings versus Bomba Bros. Game number 1 had Bomba Bros on the blue side, Goat Kings on the red side. Banned out Brand, Amumu, Ezreal, Victor, and Vigar for the Bomba Bros. Shaco, Ivern, Talia, Mord, and Ornn for the Goat Kings. And the Bomba Bros end up with the Zac, Aphelios, Braum, Evelyn, Lissandra. Goat Kings had that Jinx, Poppy, Karma, Malphite, and Nivea. How you feeling about these lineups?
both of these comps are very interesting looking. I do see that it's fairly interesting to see kind of like Goat Kings branch out. I guess that's a Karma bot with the Jinx down there, so that's a really good bot. That's actually a pretty safe bot lane, I feel. And I want to say it's definitely that Anivia is probably a favorite amongst probably many members of that team on Goat Kings. And so Envy being on that Anivia as being like a secret pick for him constantly has been really good. So that's actually pretty interesting to see that team, they kind of all managed to get picks I feel like they all like, and that ended up probably doing well for them. But for the Bomber Bros, it just seems like they got this crazy type of engage, lockdown, pick off, and like their comp overall just seems very tough to actually be able to play into.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot of CC for the Goat Kings. But actually on both sides, honestly. So we'll have to see who was able to capitalize. See if that Evelyn or Aphelios got really big. But for game number 1, looks like the game went the way of Bomba Bros. Wheel Poco getting big on that Aphelios. Unkill Vadim King and the Braum for that support. And looks like just solid showing overall from them across the
I
map.
can't lie. I had some faith in the. I had some faith for Goat Kings to be able to pull something out here for that game one, but I'm just looking at the comp of Bomber Bros, and as I was saying, it's very difficult to be able to play into something like that. What they had there.
Yeah, for sure. It was a lot of CC champs on both ends, and looks like just Bomber is able to get that lead and run with it. But we'll jump into the draft for game number 2, where Bomber blue again, Go Kings on the red. Bomber taking out that Seraphine, Brand, Tarek, Jin, Mordekaiser. Go Kings taking out the Talia, Ivern, Shaco, and then the Evelyn and Ash. Didn't want to see that Evelyn again from game 1. Bomberos ended up with that Zac, Yone, Thresh, Twitch, Alawi. So a similar setup, couple hyper carries this time, more of a side laner in the Alawi than just a straight CC comp. For the Go Kings, we got Rakan, Xerath, Volibear, Yasuo, and Malphite. So trying to use some ult synergies there, along with some take key and engage boys. How you feel about this matchup?
This comp definitely for the Goat Kings I like a lot better this time around. Yes, it's the Yasuo kind of on the that carry mode, but I think that doesn't work against them entirely, especially considering they have many different avenues to be able to activate that Yasuo, and the poke damage that could come from a Xerath is definitely something well worth it. But it's a matter of how easily do you nullify that Alawi? Are you able to do anything to the Twitch early game, especially with that Thresh protecting it? And again, they got the Zac, and it feels that Zac is something annoying to have to go up against in general too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this time around, I still feel like Bomber Bros might still have it, but it's still something to look. It's still something to like. Don't take Goat Kings out because their comp works very well. It's just like a simple try to knock as many up as possible. Allow Yasuo to get into the back line, and we have the artillery fire coming from Xerath.
Right. Yeah, I think their comp works as long as Yasuo is online. But if he's struggling, this looks like a rough one. It
Yeah.
also looks like a hard one as far as side lanes, because Alawi does pretty well into Malphite. And then, other than the Yasuo, you don't really have anyone who could match Alawi in the side lane later. But yeah, let's see who took game number 2. And looks like it fell the way of Bomba Bros, taking the series 2-1. We'll play to them. A little bit of a closer game this time, but still looks like Bomba Bros were able to get a lead and run with it once again.
That was kind of to be expected just for their team. They had to nullify a lot of different factors, and also like if I'm being real with you, Alawi is one of those factors that it's like once she gets items, it's really difficult to stop her no matter who you are. So at that point, it just seems like the comps aren't the issue for Goat Kings. I think it's just now a matter of figuring out how to play around their opponents. And right now, unfortunately, Bomber Bros just had the upper hand.
For sure. But they always have this week to change it up and try to make things work. But we'll jump to series number 2, which is Los Nomadas versus Night Raid Owls. I'll let you run through this one if you want.
Yes, sir. So we have Los Amados blue side, NRO on the red side. Los Amados bands include Lilia, Braum, Trinimir, Yone, and the Volibear. For NRO, we have them banning out Renekton, Vladimir, Milio, Tilia, and Galio. Los Amados picks are as follows: Amumu, Ezreal, Nar, Nami, Rise. NRO being Maokai, Syndra, Camille, Poppy, and Anivia. I am very interested in seeing how these no ADC comps, like the no standard ranged carry comps, have been making their rise again as of late in the league. I think that's just mostly due to a lot of the way the game has changed. But I really do like seeing like these Syndra bots and the Zig bot and all that kind of stuff. Like seeing that starting to make its way around is really cool. And I think that's going to play a really big factor into like you're not playing against a standard comp right there.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
for the even though most of the AD factor is going to be on Camille, NRL looking really really good, but the comp from Los Namadas is pretty easy to just really run with. Nami and Amumu combo very well. Nar can combo into that very well. We just need the poke damage coming from Rise and Ezreal in the back line to be able to just do everything else while they supply the rest of the CC. So both of these comps seem fairly even to me.
Yeah, I'd agree. I still think if you play them well, the AP bots can do pretty good. The only thing they struggle with, in my opinion, is if you're even and you end up doing team fighting, the sustain damage is higher from a normal ADC. But if you're able to blow somebody up or blow a couple people up, as Syndra is able to do, and kind of sets you up for engage, seems like it's been working for people. And I know Mines is very good on that Camille. Got to pick it into the Gnar, so they know they'll have him most likely dealing out that AD damage. So I I think I like it for this matchup. Los Amata's a very standard team fight comp for them. Got that scaling in the rise for Snirbopsy, and then Bulgaria on that Amumu that he likes to play a lot. So let's see who took this first game. As looks like Enero took it. Mine's getting pretty big on that Camille, along with Shunpo going 9-1 and 10. Ridiculous on that Anivia. And yeah, looks like they just kind of were able to get ahead and snowball it into the victory. Though they did need to take 2 Barons along with getting the soul, it looks like. So looks like it was still fairly back and forth until it got closed out just before 40 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the game itself was completely just given for free, even though we do see the 9-1 Olivia and the 13-4 Camille. There was definitely some other fighting that needed to be had, as we do see Excellence going to 5-4 on the Syndra. So there was definitely a bit of scrapping going on down in that bot lane that prevented them from just immediately taking the game. But overall, NRL able to take it with their composition looking really good still too.
Yep. But we'll see how Los Matas adjusted as we jump into draft for game number 2.
And for the game 2 draft, we have here NRO on blue side, Los Amados on red, and the bands are as follow. NRO bands are Renekton, Vladimir, Emilio, Cassiopeia, Karma. For Los Amados, we have Lilia, Tryndamere, Syndra, Camille, and Anivia, getting rid of some serious issues that they dealt with in the last game. NRO picks go as follows: Ezreal, Maokai, Volibear, Evelyn, Victor. And for the Nostamata side, we have Vayne, Nautilus, Poppy, Shyvana, and Galio.
Right. Another kind of expected comp from Los Tomatos. They like having a lot of CC and engage. For the Shyvana, Bulk just likes to farm up, try and take objectives, and just become that big dragon later. Hoping Redacted Vlad can scale up on that Vayne. And then NRO using a lot of flexes early with that Mayo and Volley pickup. Looks like ended up putting Volibear top. And then Shunpo's always been really good on that Victor. So I like this lineup from both sides, playing to their strengths.
And with them both playing to their strengths, it seems that we're going to look into the next part of the game and see what they got into. I want to say I give it still to NRO, though.
Yeah, let's see who took it. Yep, you are correct. NRO got the victory. Kibu popping off on that Evelyn. 10, a 1, a 9, along with Shunpo doing well on the Victor, as expected. So just well played them.
They
Taking
did
the
a very
series
good.
2-0.
Got some serious. We got some 2-0s going on already over here. Jeez. So well that's probably because a lot of they're probably different. What's it called? Different teams already trying to make sure they can establish their dominance and get to the top of the tables for the playoff seasoning and trying to get their best possible spot that they can. But for right now, yeah, NRO looking really good here.
Yeah, for sure. And, we'll end up with some 2-0 series, but if we watch the actual games, we still lose a lot of back and forth. So, still plenty of fight in all the teams. But we'll jump to the third series, which is FF15 versus Kraken Slayers. This one we streamed the other day and live. Had to restream it because the Riot client is broken. Thank you, Captain Flowers, for tweeting out at Riot to try to fix it. Hopefully they will eventually. But we'll see how the live games go tonight, assuming we get to stream them.
Oh,
So if you
I
want to see
keep
what
forgetting
happened,
today's Sunday.
today is Sunday. But if you didn't see these games, check them out. I'll get the VODs posted, and we'll get through these ones pretty quick because we streamed the games. Kraken Slayers on the blue side for Game Run, FF15 on the red side. Had the Voli, Galio, Jinx, Vladimir, Ornn up against the Morg, Mayo, Senna, Vi, Gwen. This game was a hard-fought battle on both sides. FF15 going for more of the split push comp and had the scaling with the Senna. Kraken Slayers looking for more of the team fight comp and scaling the Jinx Vlad. And we'll jump to the score screen where FF15 took game number 1. They were able to get to the late game. Had it where that split push from Smoothie on the Gwen was a hard thing to deal with, and they were still able to fight well as 5-man to take that victory, though it was very back and forth, ending close to the 40-minute mark. Here for draft number 2. Switching sides, FF15 got the Volibear, Leona, Misfortune, Kennen, and Xerath. Kraken Slayers got Amumu, Maokai, Smolder, Trundle, and Vladimir. How do you feel about these lineups, Melgo?
I mean, I was on the cast for these ones, so it was. Let's just say this: it was very surprising to see the MF give so much trouble, and kind of just the way that the comps were for FF15. They just kind of like turned this one. They were just like, okay, we got to switch some things up now that we kind of lost some big factors that we had. Like they lost the Vi from the last game, they lost the Morgana from the last game, so they had to switch some things up. But it overall, like you could take a look and see that like Kraken Slayer's comp, it definitely had some rough grit to it. It was a nail biting back and forth, and I want you, Hailstrom, to tell them why at the end of it what happened.
Yeah, it was a lot of good team fight, and I hesitate to call it a clip, but a video for us to see the end of the game, where we'll see how it ended. But a lot of good team fighting for FF15. Ken was getting good TPs off and being there for team fights. But I'll pull up the clip, and you can cast it for us as we see how this game number 2 ended. And remember, if you have any big plays from your games, post them in the clips chat I have, and I can get them in so we can see all the big plays from the different games throughout the week. But here we go.
And as you guys can see here, we do have the Baron buff is currently on the red team side, and we do see all of a sudden Volibear goes right into the middle of a big fight for the side of FF15. Covert Panda able to take out Killer Kumquat there, and it's a big double kill for the MF and taking the turret down. They start trying to push straight through. FF15 is looking like they're going to be able to take this game, but what do we have here? It is a Trundle beating down these turrets with absolute power, so all they need to do is just stall out the Vladimir using the ultimate, trying to stall and heal. Pool able to go in, healing up 1100 damage, able to take out Cobra Panda. Astros is going to still take his death there to the Volibear, but Smolder able to take out Bentage on the top side, and more towers just being dropped more and more and more as he's taking down the base just himself. We don't see it going on right now. We're right now directed on Hailstrom. What you're about to see is that he's going to be taking these turrets, but Killer Kumquat being the absolute savior, stopping the back of the cannon so they can no longer be able to try and stop this Trundle from taking down the base. And that is going to be Kraken Slayers off the back of Hailstrom, backdooring that entire bot lane to be able to take game 2.
Nicely done. Well casted, well casted. Yeah, just ended up where I believe right before that fight happened, and they dove Killer and Tack. I was like, maybe just back up. They'll take that tower, but I'll take this tower. It'll be fine. Then I got dove on. They all died, but did enough damage where I think at the end it was all but 2 of them were down, and then Killer killed the Kennen as he was trying to back, but I was like, well, if they can't back, I guess I'm Trundle. I just won the game.
You literally just had to keep making sure you just had your zone up. At that point, it was really funny to actually live cast that because seeing the call out to you, it's like, hey guys, so there's a Trundle down the bot side just beating down the turrets. What do we like? How do we even cast for this? Like I was even thinking like, how do I even cast that right now? Because it's just
it,
he's just down there and
it was also
honestly,
funny because the directed camera didn't look at me because I wasn't fighting anyone. It was just watching the fights all happen in the top lane. And then I think Blitzkrieg had called out that, oh, Hailstorm's just ending the game, by the way.
it's like, hey, so there's a Trundle down there just casually beating down FF15's turrets, and you might want to check on that. And it was just really funny to just see the game all of a sudden just swing all the way down, and
Yeah,
I'm like, ah, so that's how this is gonna end. All right, we're getting to game three, and it was
right.
the best thing about it though. I think this was probably. I don't know how many people have seen like the other series, but I think this was like the one that everyone kept calling like the banger of the week. This one was the one that everyone was really excited to see, and I honestly got to say it was definitely a hyphy series.
Yeah, I think it delivered on the expectations. Definitely our teams are very well matched up against each other, and it was a lot of fun fighting throughout the series. But yeah, we see this one ended before 25 minutes just because I got to randomly end the game. But was still a pretty bloody game up to that point. Now we'll look at draft number 3, where we swapped back on the sides. Kraken Slayers getting the Maokai, Amumu, Trundle, Vayne, and Asol. FF15 with the Tom Kench, Senna, Yorick, Zyra, and Mordekaiser. How do you feel about this final lineup for the series?
I'm gonna just immediately point out, and this was actually called out, I believe, on the cast with Deity when we were talking about like the Zyra being on like and being picked up by Vintage there. And I actually said that like most times if you do end up seeing a Zyra, it's more than likely because that person actually mains her. And it was shown that Vintage, I don't know if he mains Zyra, but he definitely understood what he was doing in this game. And it showed how well he was able to handle himself in that mid lane. The comp overall for the side of FF15 was probably completely unexpected, especially when they picked up a raid boss to try to go up against your raid boss.
Right.
But as we just see Kraken Slayers here, their comp overall, it's really hard to fight into to disengage, even with the Mordekaiser having the ability to take people out of fights and to displace people and all this kind of stuff. It just seemed still very solo QE. It didn't really feel like that FF15's comp melds. And Kraken Slayer's comp, literally, you have one person go in, then the next person goes in, then the CC gets layered on top. You still have all the split push potential. You have the late game insurance with Vayne starting to absolutely decimate when all she needs is true damage the whole time. Actually, this is the game where I learned that she builds Jack Show. I didn't even know this. There's like a whole set of 3 items that Vayne needs, and it's like, okay, cool. She gets all the attack speed she needs, and she scales with her, and then her freaking Silver Bolt scales off of their health. So then all of a sudden it's like I see a Jack Show get built, and I'm like, huh? Since when did this happen on Vayne? And I'm just gonna start banning that champion. So we could let's just go right into the next screen, and I'll show you guys why I meant this.
Yep. As Kraken Slayers took the Silver Scrapes game, taking the series 2-1, but definitely well played FF15. Gave us a big fight.
Oh man, this is something that to me I'm like they definitely I'm gonna give a lot of credit over to Smoothie. Definitely played his heart out up and topside against you. Bentage definitely showing why he likes playing mid lane, and he can pick up some random off weird mid lane picks, and it definitely can still work for him. Covert definitely had some decent performances all throughout the actual series themselves. It's just unfortunately not much could really happen here that they could make do. Like honestly, both your teams were very evenly matched, and it was extremely fun to actually cast it because I wasn't sure who was going to win at any given moment, and it makes me extremely happy to see that happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. And was a fun one to play too. But we'll jump into series number 4, which is Stoner Nation against HYG. And you can take this one away.
Let's go. So Stoner Nation's on blue side and our very own boy band HYG on the red side. The bands go as follows. For Stoner Nation, we have Ari, Nocturne, Nautilus, Olaf and Zhao. For HYG, we have Zach, Kennen, Rakan, Wukong, and Aurelian Soul. For the picks we're going to see on Stoner's Nation is going to be the Jinx, Braum, Renekton, Azir, Sejuani. And on HYG, we see the Jin, Leona, the Alawi, Vi, and Victor. So how we feeling about these ones?
I like the HYG setup. Perfy has played Alawi a lot in previous seasons. Generally does a good job on that champ. Have a good 4-man. If you just want to go with the 4-1 game plan, I like that setup for them. Stoner Nation is more of a front to back team comp. They got 2 hyper carries in the Jinx and Azir. So if they can find the 4-man and take them out, then they can kind of push through and take victories that way. But it kind of depends on the strength of that side lane matchup. But we'll check out who took game number 1, as it fell the way of HYG for game number 1. These ones we also streamed, so if you didn't see any of this action, look for that VOD as well. This one, HYG got a pretty good early game lead, and we're able to run the map well with that, getting a lot of towers and objectives off the map. But then eventually, Stoner Nation were fighting back. The Jinx and Azir were getting a lot of kills, becoming those scary late game champs. Actually, end up getting more kills overall in the game than HYG, but the pressure was enough where HYG took the Nexus and ended the game before that full comeback could happen on the side of Stoner Nation.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you love to see. It just it's good to see that HYG was able to actually do it, because they're a team that's been unfortunately notorious with themselves that they can gain really really good early game leads. They are actually, I personally feel, at least in my opinion, one of the more early game dominant teams in our league. It's just they usually haven't been able to really transition that early game lead directly into an actual victory, and it seems like this time around the whole team did pretty damn good. Even with Perfy having to go 3-10 up on that top side, it still meant that they were still able to make everything work. So I honestly think that they've probably maybe found a formula for themselves that might work, and if so, keep it up.
Yeah, for sure. As we'll jump into draft game number 2, and you can take it away.
And for drafting game 2, we're going to have right here HYG on blue side, Stoner Nation on red side. Bands read as follows. For HYG, we have Zach, Kennen, Jinx, Azir, Aurelian Soul. For Stoner Nation, we have Ari, Nocturne, Nautilus, Alawi, Victor. For picks, HYG go as follows: Kaisa, Zinzao, Ash, Set, Vigar. And for Stoner Nation, it is Lucian, Rakan, Lee Sin, Urgot, Katarina. That's a champion I haven't seen in quite some time other than the Narams. So that's actually a pretty interesting pick. I love seeing like picks like that where it's Katarina and you're now having like a Kaisa Ash. I really like seeing things like that because it just kind of throws the game for a loop, because now everyone has to think differently about how they're going into the game. And for what it is, Katarina can literally, like, the majority of their team is actually pretty squishy. She might be able to just run through those 2 carries and the Vigar, unless they're able to really like lock her down and stop her.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so if, honestly, Stoner's Nation, they might have a pretty good chance of winning the game in this sense, just from the way their team comp works.
Yeah,
But
I like their comp overall pretty well. The only weird one I'd agree is the Katarina, but if you're good on her and you can get ahead, you can blow up team fights as well. But the Rakan, Lucian, Urgot, Lee Sin seems like a really good team fighting comp. HYG focused on picks a lot, uh, but we'll jump into score screen, see who took game number 2, as it once again went the way of HYG, taking series for them 2-0. Well played by the HYG boys. If you didn't catch this game and you ever want to learn a lot of facts about Urgot, this is a good game to watch. It was Mines and Deity casting it, and I was commenting as I was asked to. We were talking a lot about how Urgot abilities interact and whatnot. But
oh, that's actually really cool.
kind of a similar game as game number 1, where HYG was looking pretty good in the early game. Eventually, Stoner Nation started to get that comeback going once again, ending up with more kills than HYG at the end, but still losing out on the Nexus, and well played to HYG for the victories.
Good job to HYG boys, able to really get that 2-0. That's going to definitely be a morale booster overall for them, and
Yep.
I'm sure that'll hopefully translate to more wins later on in the season.
For sure, for sure. It was caught out on the cast as well. They doubled their wins from last season, so they're already killing it in here in season 4.
There we go.
And we'll go to series number 5, which is Demonic Ascension versus Titan Gaming Mux. Here for game number 1, Demonic Ascension banning away Aatrox, Olaf, Yone, Samira, and Nico. TGM taking out Asol, Karma, Swain, Renekton, and Vigar. Demonic Ascension grabbing that Voli, Zyricon, York, and Silas. 10 game box got Udyr, Nautilus, Vladimir, Zeri, and Vex. How you feel about these matchups?
Oh boy. Demonic Ascension looks a lot more standard. Titan Gaming Mox, just that's a very interesting comp overall. I haven't seen Zeri in quite some time, and I haven't really known how to feel about the champion for some time. If she's still pretty good, I can see it being an issue, but Demonic Ascension bringing on that lovers duo, the Silas for the mid lane, definitely some decent ultimates to be able to steal, especially with Vlad helping with the additional lifesteal, Nautilus with the additional CC, and then Vex having the ability to help the Silas go in. There's not completely anything bad into that team. And then Volibear, just that overall pick or ban champion. They managed to get it for themselves again. It was something that managed to help them win in previous game. So I like Demonic Ascension's comp very much. Titan Gaming Mox, I'm guessing this is more like, hey, these are everything we're comfortable on, and we're just gonna make it work as a team. And there's still there's supplements to each of their champions. So I definitely like both of these teams, but I think I'm gonna just for simplicity comp sake, I'm gonna go Demonic Ascension.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I know TGM now has a Bunny Lord in that top lane, so he's looking to become the strong boy, and Demonic Ascension trying to punish with that Lover's bot lane and the Zyrocon. So we'll have to see who can get big and kind of put on those carry pants as we'll jump to the score screen with game number 1 going the way of Demonic Ascension. Console C 7-0-9, Unkillable Demon King. Definitely was put on the carry pants there. And we'll play them for game number 1. I know Bunny Lord was calling out he was getting that known bug on the Vlad where his pool wasn't dodging tower shots. Unfortunate, but you know, it's a known bug, so when it happens you just kind of have to deal, unfortunately. But we'll jump to the draft for game number 2.
I'm ready to call that out too. We have Demonic Ascension on the blue side once again, TGM on red side, with the bans being for the side of Demonic Ascension is going to be Aatrox, the Olaf, Yone, Vex, Nico, and for TGM we do have a slight mess up, but it's going to be Karma. Oh, sorry, I'm reading it completely wrong. Karma, Swain, Aurelian Soul, Silas, and the Renekton. For picks, we do have from Demonic Ascension side, once again, they managed to get the Volibear, the Senna, Seraphine. Ooh, decent combination there. Alawi, Corki. And for TGM, they managed to pick up the Vi, Zaya, Vladimir, Lulu, and Talia. This is another one where I'm just going to say for simplicity's sake, I really like Demonic Ascension's comp. It feels like they're really trying to think of champions and cohesions that worked for them. And not only that, but they kind of just be like, okay, like we have Corky Senna Seraphine. Like that already is a crazy core all in itself. Then you have the Volibear, which is again another picker band champion, and Alawi, who generally is a very item dependent champion. Even if they fall behind, eventually they will become difficult, if not impossible, to stop.
Sure.
That's just again it's the same type of thing again where it felt like Demonic Ascension, they were like, we know what we want for comps, we know how we want to play. And then there's TGM where it's just kind of like we have comfort picks and we're just gonna kind of just do what we can, we're gonna play what we play best and make it work.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to Vladimir, just come for him, and I feel like Vlad should do pretty well into Alawi. If ever you get hit by the E and she ults, you could just pull away. But we'll have to look and see. I know Talia right now is kind of a very scary mid laner, so we'll have to see how that champ does. But yeah, let's jump to the score screen and see who took game number 2. As it looks like goes the way of Demonic Ascension, taking their series 2-0. Looks like the Glizzler in that top lane doing pretty well on the Alawi, 11-6-7. Looks like a fairly bloody game across the board. Was pretty even, almost went to 45 minutes, but fell the way of Demonic Ascension after taking 3 Barons, needing all those Barons to get that game over. But well played to them.
If I'm being real with you, I'm not really surprised. It's just the composition thing is what really gets me. When you're playing, when you actually do have a cohesive comp that actually can very much combo with one another, it's very, very difficult to basically beat that. And that's especially if all these people feel comfortable on these champions as well.
Right. I didn't realize there was actually console going to be on that Seraphine too. But looks like it worked out for them. Had that support Senna using that stack mechanic to their advantage. But well played to them, as we'll look at the final series from week number 3, being insert name there against Shifting Sands Gaming. You want to do this one, or you want me to do it?
I got you. I got you on
Aight,
this one.
aight.
All right. So we got INT on blue side, SSG on red side. Bands go as follow: INT, Lee Sin, Azir, Viego, Orn, and Malphite. For SSG, we have wow. I'm thinking of Samsung Gaming now. We we have Swain, Zach, Riven, the Jax, and the Nasus. I'm glad to see that Riven band. The last time I saw that Riven, I got to cast that Riven, I absolutely thought I was going to lose my mind how much it took over a game for the side of INT. So for the INT picks, we do have as follows: Ash, Maokai, Udyr, Trundle, Hui. For the SSG side, we do have Lucian, Nami, Nidalee, Tom Kent, Yon. Nidalee being a pick that I haven't seen in quite some time. So that's actually going to be very interesting to see how this resulted. I want to say that INT is another it's another one of those situations again where they have some cohesion, some extreme cohesion, and even somewhat semi-global work with with their teams. So it's actually I feel like it would probably be very difficult for SSG once things transitioned into mid game to be able to really fully combat INT and everything that they were doing, especially with how much influence that they have over the map, with Wei being able to do things from far away, with Ash being able to send out hawk shots and arrows, and so on and so forth, and even with a much long range engage that they also end up having too. So that must have been extremely difficult for INT to work to be able to go ahead and do that, especially with their primary engagers really being Yon and Tom Kench.
Right. I like that they have the range, and I think for INT, as long as they basically have Yone off the carries, then they can do well. But if you can ever get into that back line, then they might have some issues. And I didn't double check because there's multiple Trundle game spoilers, but I think it's from this one, so I do have a clip that we can look at real quick. Not to be outdone, Omega had his own Trundle moment, so we'll look at that one now.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a look.
Yes, it was this
Another
game. Alright,
Trundle
good.
moment, guys. He's got the grubs. He's trying to take these towers. Oh, okay. Lucian is actually here this time, though. Is slowed down by the pillar, and he's just ignoring him. Trundle does not care. He'd rather just keep taking these objectives, not worried about the champions, able to go ahead and claim victory for the side of INT.
Yeah, a little bit shorter of a clip to actually be clip sized, unlike mine. But mine started a couple towers away with less items, I believe. But if a Trundle's in your game and he's at your base, it might just end the game. So you really got to watch out for that. True tower greater than everything else. The true Trundle gameplay.
The
Um,
true Trundle gameplay.
and I think if I remember correctly, you guys were actually down in kills at that point. So definitely a nice time to be able to get that end for your team. But well played them, taking advantage of the opportunity. And let's see. Yeah, they were down 13 kills. Oh my gosh. So
Wait,
yeah,
what?
just a really nice time for Omega. Has that hull breaker, has that Trinity Force, and just demolishes towers.
So Trundle is now the new Maokai in this league, and we need this thing banned every game.
Nah. Malachi's great. What do you mean? Or Trundle's great. Whatever.
Nah, Trundle's got to go.
Yeah,
He's got to go.
it looks like Avius was doing big work on that Nidalee, and Beeson was pretty fed. Along with Kitten's actually unkillable despite having the L for the game. Just
So unkillable demon
gotta
king.
watch out for those split pushers. They'll get you. As we'll jump into draft number 2.
And this time for draft 2, we still have INT on blue side, SSG on red side. For the bands, they go as follow. Blue side bands are going to be Azir, Lee Sin, Nidalee, Yasuo, and Yon. For SSG on the red side, we have Swain, Zac, Riven, Hwei, and Sivir. We have the bands here going for the picks now is going to be INT with the Trundle, Maokai, Udyr, Ashe, Annie. And for SSG, we're going to have Kai'Sa, Nautilus, Gragas, Ahri, and Viego.
Not bad, not
This
bad. Pretty similar team comp for insert name there. Just having to swap out the Hwei, which was banned away. Samsung Gaming going for another pretty good team fighting comp. I believe that'd be Gragas top, Viego jungle, Ahri mid. Yeah, so it's really good team fighty comp, looking to be a meatball together and try to win fights. But
yeah,
Didi also sent in a clip for this game where there was a bit of a dragon fight and he got to pop off a little bit. So we'll check that one out real quick.
let's go ahead and see. I actually haven't seen this, so this is going to be pretty interesting as the dragon fight for the Infernal Drake is going on here. We do see the red side able to go in. Nautilus able to grab onto Maokai. The Kai'Sa doing so much damage up at that top side, but caught between 3 members. Deity going to be able to slay 1, slay 2. We have more going on. That's going to be 3 as he continues to chase him down. Deity on 4 with the quadra kill. Trying to give it to him. We're going to give it, and it's going to be the penta kill for the side of INT as Annie is able to take it. And I'm going to guess that penta kill, and based upon that score screen, do we have a game 3 or did we only get 2 games?
Spoilers, we do only have 2 games for this series. They took it 2-0. Also, if you look at that clip and look at the minimap, Trundle is just pushing the base once again. So, doing the Trundle thing, I respect it. And actually, the Annie shield proccing to give Deity that final kill to give him that penta, but well played to him. And yeah, definitely make sure everybody from the games who didn't have clips, if you have big moments, get them posted so that we can show them off. But well played to INT, and now we will look at the games coming up today and look at some predictions as well. Here for week number 4, we've got the Goat Kings versus Night Raid Owls, Los Nomadas versus FF15, Bomba Bros versus HYG, Kraken Slayers versus Shifting Sands Gaming, Stoner Nation versus Titan Gaming Mucks, and Demonic Ascension versus insert name there. And I believe the vote was for Demonic Ascension and insert name there to be the live cast. Assuming that's
gonna
happening,
be a fun one.
keep an eye out for that stream around 3 hours from now. But yeah, how you feel about the matchups?
So Goat Kings and Night Raid Owls is going to be a very interesting one. I feel like they were previous rivals at one point. Los Nomadas versus FF15. That one is going to be one for FF15 to really determine if they can, get their wings back under them after the loss their first loss being suffered last week. Bomber Bros versus HYG. I feel like Bomber Bros is like this is like NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys kind of to me.
Right.
So like Bomber Bros versus HYG is gonna be the battle of the boy bands, and that one's gonna be really fun. I hope we can actually get those casted at some point this week. Kraken Slayers versus Shifting Sands Gaming. I got one bit of advice for SSG: ban the Trundle, please. You guys lost to it. It's like you know that they got some guy who's gonna play Trundle, and you lost to it last week. ban it. That's not the flame. That's just a real strategy. Just ban it and don't allow it to split push on you.
Beard said Go Kings don't have beer. They should be good this week since he's out fishing still.
Oh, he'll be. Don't worry. They might be able to take that win. They're still. They got this. They got this. They got faith in themselves. Stoners Nation versus Titan Gaming Mox. These are two titans of the Valhalla since, like, I want to say season 1 in general.
Mhm.
So both these teams, I'm kind of they've changed a lot over the last 2 seasons. So I'm not sure really how to expect for these two. And then for Demonic Ascension versus insert name there, I know both of these, or I know both of these teams a little bit more personally, more because I've casted insert name there a lot more in Demonic Ascension. I've seen their teams and how they've been practicing and everything like that. Demonic Ascension's current iteration of their lineup is probably the best iteration of their lineup. Between all the switches and everything that they've made, they're showing that they're very strong, that they're comp cohesive in the sense. I mean, it's almost kind of meta slavey, but they're doing what they need to do to try to eke out these wins, especially against better players.
Right.
So. This one's actually going to be really crazy to see, especially for that mid lane matchup. I'm very, very excited for that. I'm expecting full Swain bands all over the place. They got console in the ADC and then deity in the mid lane. You're definitely getting a Swain band from either one of the two sides. So yeah, no, even though we have literally the mascot and then one of the main players, like, you're not getting a Swain in this game, guys, not tonight. So just be ready for that there in the next couple of hours.
Yeah, for sure. I do like that this matchup happened this week and it got voted on to get casted. I think it'll be a big test since INT is still the final standing undefeated team. I think Demonic Ascension will be in a good spot to try and get them knocked off that pedestal. But we'll have to see how they play it out. And yeah, I agree with most of what you said for the other matchups, except for don't ban Trundle. That'd be rude. Come on now. And we'll take a look at our community votes for each game. So for Goat Kings versus Night Raid Owls, all the belief on the side of
Whoa.
Night Raid. It looks like I think maybe 1 or 2 votes for Goat Kings. We got a couple believers out there.
Holy. Whoa,
So
man.
if Goat Kings pull this supposed upset, then they will hurt a lot of people's predictions for this week.
Oh, boy.
For Los Nomadas versus FF15, we have pretty even, 47 to 52, slightly in favor of Los Nomadas, but I'd agree with this vote. Los Nomadas have been struggling a little bit. I think they're 1-2 right now, but have still looked strong even though they're losing. FF15 was undefeated till last week, and it's a very hard-fought series, so definitely another strong squad right there. For NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys, as you called it. I'm not sure which is which, but we have the belief in the Bomba Bros for this week, 73 to 26%. But we saw what happened last week. HYG hurt a lot of predictions last week, but helped put me back into the tied #1 spot with Bentage right now, since I was a believer in them.
I'm gonna say this. Whatever one wins it overall this season. So like we're gonna say this. We have a little mini competition going on between the two. Whoever has the higher standing overall between the two, that's the one with Justin. What was the one with Justin Timberlake? I think that was NSYNC.
NSYNC, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the one that was apparently better. So that you could just call that one in sync at the end of the season. So we're gonna keep this going. We're gonna pay some attention to them. But right now it's a battle of who's gonna be in sync and who's Backstreet Boys.
For sure, for sure. For Kraken Slayers, we're shifting sands. 63 to 36 in favor of Kraken Slayers. About two
That's one that
thirds.
I expected that kind of vote, honestly. Overall, Kraken Slayers has just been showing an extremely strong team. If they can't play
Just
the
play
like full
Trundle.
team fight, yeah, literally, just play Trundle. If they can't play the team fight, just play the split push, and it has been working. It works very well, and it seems like you guys are taking a lot of advantage of the fact that some teams don't really know how to handle split push very well,
Yeah.
and especially when there's that much pressure from a split pusher like a Trundle and Urgot or something else.
Fortunately, I can find a way to split push on most any champ, so if we need it, we'll figure it out.
Careful of the Tryndamere. I'll give them that one at least. Careful of the Tryndamere.
And then Stoner Nation versus Titan Gaming Mux. Big belief in the Stoner Nation, about 78 to 21%. Star Nation has been looking pretty good. I know they lost last week to HYG 0-2, but definitely looked like they were making that comeback in both games, despite the losses. Titan Game Mux has had some scheduling issues. I think last week was the first time they had the full team together. So just trying to build up that team synergy, and we'll have to see how they do against Stoner Nation this week. And then,
So just don't just real quick, just to put it. So this current vote is like, hey guys. So it's more like it seems like because this is the first week where they're actually all together. Maybe some people don't really know how well they'll perform as a team.
yeah, that's my
So I feel
guess.
like this vote is more skewed towards like no one really knows how this team is gonna perform, whether or not it's not because this team is definitely lesser than that team. So we can still have a
Right,
banger
right.
of a series for that one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then the live game prediction: Demonic Ascension versus insert name there. Big belief in insert name there. People think they're gonna keep that undefeated streak going, but despite this vote being so heavily INT, I think it will be a pretty banger series. Definitely don't
I'm
count out
honestly thinking a
Demonic
3-game series
Ascension.
from this one.
Yeah, if it goes to 3 games, I would not be surprised. So I get why you're voting for it. They're undefeated. They've been looking good, but don't sleep on Demonic Ascension. They definitely have the players to be able to take a game or two off of insert name there and knock them off that undefeated pedestal. But yeah,
Yeah, I gotta be here for that one. This is a game I definitely have to cast. This is it just looks crazy what's gonna be going on. I don't know why. Something just gives me this crazy irking feeling. Like there's just gonna be a hell of a banger on this one. And I feel like this particular live game might be the one that's gonna explode kind of like how like more of the live games work in the sense like how people start to like shake themselves up in the league, especially if DA can end up taking insert names theirs actual undefeated like title. If they can just take that away from them, that'll be insane to see. And again, like coming from a team that kind of blew up a bit and just was able to reconvene out of nowhere a bunch of ragtag different people, and it's working. So like they just need to keep going the way that they're going, and they'll have some faith. I'm gonna be someone who's gonna be a DA. I'm gonna say I have faith in DA, but they do have a hell of a challenge ahead of them,
oh
and
yeah, for sure.
that's putting it lightly.
Yeah, it kind of worked out for Demonic Ascension because, as you mentioned, like they had so many changes in the team, but they kept winning through them. So definitely have been doing a good job rolling with the punches. And as far as predictions for the season, currently there's a tie between Bentage and myself, both sitting at basically 2/3 correct of the predictions. And thank you to HYG helping me get that extra game over some other people and pushing me up to the tied #1 spot. Hoping I can have another good week this week, but we will see.
I'm sure you're gonna have another good week. I haven't personally done pick'ems. I just never remember to do them. So
But I put in
I
so
just
much work to make them.
I know. I'm so sorry. I will promise you, Hellstrom.
Yeah.
I'll start getting into them next season.
Maybe
But
next season, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
next season,
if
I
you
got
jump in
you.
at this point, I'm still counting all the other weeks where you didn't do them as just being all wrong.
Oh,
So
okay. So
if you want to be one of the leaders, you kind of had to do it the whole time. But it's still fun to do, just to give yourself someone to root for if you're just checking out casually. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and keep an eye out for any live games that could happen tonight. And we will catch you next time. Have a good night.
have a good night.
my brain.